Greetings and welcome back, everyone. This is Into the Nexus, the Heroes of the Storm podcast. I'm Garrett Weinzerl, and I'm joined as always by Mr. Kyle Ferguson. How you doing, Kyle?
Doing well. Happy holidays, Garrett.
Oh, happy holidays to you. Happy Christmas. Merry Christmas. I'm not British. Merry Christmas and all that jazz. And also joining us today is our buddy Mike, a.k.a. D-Day, formerly of the Nexus Champ roster and a current writer over at nexuschamp.com. How you doing, Mike?
Pretty good. How are you guys doing?
Dude, I mean, we're about to hit the winter break, which really just means more time for Blizzard games.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm like so antsy for Thrall. I want Thrall so bad right now. I can't tell you how much I want to play him after playing him at BlizzCon. He's going to be broken, but that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I played him and Jaina, and I preferred Jaina's kit a little more just because of the type of characters I like to play. So I win because I got her first. So
indeed you do, sir.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to Thrall. All of Thrall's like straight shot frontal area abilities, of which he has many, are very fun. They're all incredibly visceral. I don't know. Yeah, he looked like he was gonna be the next thing to be as annoying as ETC. Like, I think Thrall is going to challenge the mantle of ETC for the most just balls-ass annoying character to play against in this game.
Oh, the
I think he's gonna be worse.
too. Yeah.
I'll tell you one time one of the games I played him, someone was hiding behind their wall, and I used his Cataclysm ultimate and shot them in front of their wall, and they couldn't get back in because of the body blocking of the Cataclysm.
Oh my God.
They couldn't get by it.
That's so disgusting, man. Jeez.
It's going to be so miserable. You got your Circle of Frost going off, going to do some ETC dancing everybody. Like there's a witch doctor in the background, just got a spirit in there, and then comes Thrall. Get back in the middle.
Surprise! I'm chasing you, man. What you gonna do? What you gonna do?
Well, anyways, Mike, we brought you on today because we're not going to do an episode next week because we observe Christmas here, so we're going to be off opening presents and mostly just drinking a lot of eggnog with probably more rum in it than actual eggnog. But that's how we rock. And since folks are going to hopefully have a long winter break ahead of them with lots of time to play Heroes, we wanted to get you on and talk about the current state of things in Heroes of the Storm. Talk about the meta, because every time I talk to you, we can't just have a normal conversation like two friends who enjoy each other's company. I'm just constantly pumping you for information about the current state of the game. So I figured, well, why not put a mic in front of you and do the same thing and not have to do so much work on this episode of the show.
Cool. Yeah. Let everyone know what I've been telling you. Secrets. So many secrets.
Who whispers so many sweet nothings into my ear. And the only thing I can say back is land that howling blast, sir. And he'll be like, dude, I missed it once. I missed it once and you won't let it go.
It was crucial. We lost the game because of it. It's okay. No. But like since the patch, they equalize a lot of the heroes. So like heroes like Falset and Nazebo that were kind of like tier 2 almost, not quite tier 1, moved up to tier 1, and everyone like Vala and Tychus. Tychus isn't seeing as much play as he used to. Illidan switched from the EU meta over to the US meta a little bit more, so you're seeing a lot of Illidan because he's just so difficult to control.
He really is. I saw a lot this week, and I'm not sure when the divide happened. It felt like I pretty much since his kind of fall from grace, so to speak. I mean, you experienced the same thing too, because remember when we first started playing this game, you loved Juice Illidan.
Oh yeah,
and and then he got the revamp and he was pretty weak. And I honestly have barely seen him since. And then every single game I played this week had an Illidan in it.
He is free to play right now, so that's one thing. But also, you're absolutely right. He is a badass on the field, and there are people who now all of a sudden know to stay in combat and use his gain health on attacks rather than running away and instantly dying.
Yeah, I mean, as Illidan, you want to just sit there and fight as much as possible. As long as you have a team to back you up, you can't really just go in 1v2 and like kill both people. You have to actually like have a team to back you up as an assassin, which is typically what you want to do. But like if you have like a Rhaegar and an Uther, someone that can double burst heal you, you cannot kill him because there's just so much interruption on the other team. He gets low in health, Ancestral Spirit back to full. he ults, he gains a bajillion health, and he's just like hitting you for like 300 a hit, and it's just he melts people if you play him correctly.
Yeah, yeah. I had a pretty sweet kill on one today, or assist in a kill because I was playing Tyrande, so I wasn't. I don't think I had as big of an impact in the actual killing as assisting in it. But man, I just landed the perfect lunar flare, and it was just like, ooh yeah, eat it, Illidan, and lunar flare, Mark, and everyone just do. It was one of those beautiful times where you're in a pub and everyone attacks the target they should attack. It was gorgeous.
Yeah. And to be honest, like a lot of people don't really pay attention to what they're doing. Like when they look at their team, in a draft, it's a little bit different because you can see the team being built. But if you're queuing with friends and you go like three assassins, a tank, and a healer, um, if you're going Illidan Kerrigan, that's not a good idea because there's one hero that can just destroy that combination, and that's going to be Malfurion. If there's a Malfurion on the other team, they happen to go silence, and they both dive in, and they're silenced. They can't use their evasion. They can't do any abilities to get out of a fight. They're just dead in the water. Unlike Arthas can sit there and he can still rune tap, but he's the only one that can actually sustain it in a fight when he's silenced.
Right. Yeah. No. I mean, I feel like the silence rule goes for anyone, but you make a very good point. Those are two heroes that have very strong dive initiation tactics. So,
Well, they have huge mobility abilities. So taking those away, you feel like you are sluggish and you are walking out of a pile of damage.
mobility ability was the cover band I played in high school. We only covered safety dance.
Oh, oh what a headache.
No, but like the main reason for it though is because like Kerrigan, her shields are generated off her abilities. So if you can't use abilities, you can't generate shield and can't create that buffer to take damage. And if you can't evade as Illidan, you can't do anything because you're so squishy, you just blow up.
Well, it's the whole point of playing Illidan is moving constantly. Blizzard even when they talked about his redesign, they were just like, yeah, I just wanted to flip around like Legolas in the new Hobbit movies. It was the whole idea behind his new kit. It's just like, take that away, and he's just useless.
So coming at Illidan from a casual perspective, not a hero I play a lot, his evasion ability not so hot in the beginning, and you can like augment for shields. I understand, like I need double dash, like right?
Not really. As long as in solo queue, it's really difficult to play him because a lot of people don't back you up. They like to play by themselves and just go bash on people as much as they can instead of paying attention to their team. Unless they're a support, and usually support will actually help you in support. But if you go like an immolation build with his sweeping strikes or whatever, his W, that's not where a lot of his damage comes from. A lot of his damage comes from auto attacking, and you don't want to just be using abilities. You want to be diving over people, hitting them for an extra bit of damage. A lot of people take Marksman for the first talent on Illidan to gain that extra attack damage because he scales better late game. With the evasion, he already has the ability to he blocks two abilities already. So he isn't going to get hit by that, and he's generating a shield that's going to be kind of useful, but he has such a low health pool, it just gets destroyed anyway.
Gotcha. So you're talking about the shield that he gets if you go for Shadow Shield as your level 1 talent. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And for those listening, we've gotten so many tweets and so many emails this week from people who said that they just now got in. So if you just got in and you don't know what season Marksman is, it's one of his 4 talent options at level 1, and it reads for every 6 enemy minion or mercenary kills near your hero, gain 1 basic attack damage. Hero takedowns count as 2 minion kills. So during the whole course of the game, your basic attack damage just increases and increases and increases.
And a lot of times you'll see, like on smaller maps like Dragonshire, you'll see someone go marksman, and then they'll start rotating between lanes, and they'll stall the lanes out so that one person can get 2 stacks by just rotating between the two.
Yeah.
So it can get really out of control really quick.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah, this is one of the few ways you can kind of augment a hero to do more damage than all the other heroes on board, so that you can kind of feel like you can kind of fill the role of a fed carry in more traditional MOBAs. And what makes him kind of desirable and one of the more unique heroes, I think.
For sure.
So.
But yeah, like Nazebo is really, really good right now. He was already good because he was just so difficult. If he was like hiding behind a bush or something, you didn't know where his ult was coming from, couldn't get vision on it. In the middle of a team fight, it's really difficult to ignore someone and go for someone that's hiding in a bush. And especially when you're being snared the entire time. Like if it's a Jaina and a Nazebo, which isn't really that great of an idea, but you're being slowed by Jaina, can't get to Nazebo, can't get vision on him, and he just ravenous spirits and just keeps you from getting out there. So he just melts you. Yeah.
Yeah. You can tell Kyle and I have talked to each other for a while now. We both have the same
I don't want to
exact...
live in your imagination.
Get out of my head.
So speaking of Jaina, like, I mean, that's our freshest hero. We all expected a lot of problems with her, but things seem pretty good. Is your perspective the same?
I expected her to be more like a mage, rather than someone that just sits there off the side and was like, hey, here's a little blizzard. Oh, here's a frostbolt. But if you go like frostbolt build right now, and you just go straight frostbolt build, you can't do enough damage to kill someone. You have to pretty much hide the entire time. Because if you get caught out, you're dead. And you have to pick a blink ability to blink out of a fight if you get caught out. Because if someone just happens to be on top of you, there's no way you're getting out of that fight. You're gonna die.
Okay.
Gotcha. So team fights then, and you were expecting something more along the lines of like a Nova?
Yeah, that's exactly what I expected. Because you're a mage. What are they doing? WoW, they just blow you up, and there's nothing you can do. It's
Right.
kind of like Nova in that regard, but I think they were aiming for something a little more not Nova because they're already having problems with her.
Yeah, I mean, she has a really unique. She's like seems to be all about like soft crowd control because she doesn't have any hard stuns, but she's all about rooting and slowing and. I still play a lot of her, and I've been having good results. Granted, I'm not playing in 5-on-5 pre-mades that you do most of the time, D-Day, but I'm just not seeing the issue, I guess. But I also don't really go the whole full-on Frostbolt build. I actually prefer a more Blizzard-centric build because
It's probably a good idea.
Blizzard hurts. Like you get, especially when you get up. What level is the point where you can get three hits of? Oh, it's at level 16. If you take Snow Crash, it increases the number of her Blizzard waves from 2 to 3, and like. Stacking that on top of Ring of Frost, it's just disgusting.
Oh yeah. If you can get Ring of Frost to hit, Ring of Frost is one of those that's just like you have to be really, really good with your positioning on that.
Yeah, that's a very good point. It is a strong ability, but it's got such a delay on it that you almost have you have to take risks with it. You have to put it where they aren't and hope that they're about to move to where you're putting it. Because if you put it where they are, they're just going to move out of it. So I always try to use it when I see them, when I get just the slightest inkling, they're going to retreat or at least back up a unit or two of space, and that's when I'm like, okay, I'm always aiming it behind my target, and sometimes it pays off, and sometimes it doesn't.
It's an excellent defensive ult because it keeps people from chasing you. As far as aggression goes, I can't see it, and in team fights, I can see it being useful. But if a team is good, they're just going to ignore it and run right by it.
Yeah. So would you recommend? So say because one of the things we're going to talk about today is Jaina getting cheaper. So if someone's new and they got Jaina, would you recommend Water Elemental over Ring of Frost?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. If you're new to the game, Ring of Frost is something you're going to need to work towards. Water Elemental is more sustained damage. And if you look at the scaling, like Water Elemental just outdamages Ring of Frost in general because it's going to be constantly slowing someone. So you're going to get that chill effect and you're going to get that crit chance. So you're going to be doing more damage overall. People tend to focus the Water Elemental, so it'll take the focus off of you and you're the damage dealer. It'll take focus off the tanks. It'll take focus off the other assassins on the team and the support.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I've actually kind of had this all wrong because I'm sitting on Abathur being like, boy, everyone's slacking. My damage is incredible. I'm awesome. And I'm looking right at the Jaina every game basically thinking, why is your damage so low? So I need to think of her as more of a participant?
Yes, Jaina's damage is extremely low for an assassin. Extremely low for an assassin. Like if you look at a game with a Vala and a Falstad in a game and you just happen to have a Jaina on your team too, Vala and Falstad are just going to destroy Jaina any chance they get. Like there's no chance you can keep up with them. Falstad's tier 1 right now, so he's just one of those heroes that's just annihilating everyone.
Okay. Gotcha. See, I was so averse to water elemental for so long because, honestly, because of talents. Because at level 20, I have to take Bolt of the Storm, but the talent for the water elemental is so damn sexy, and I'm just like, well, I'll just take Ring of Frost, and then I won't feel bad come level 20.
Oh yeah, like I toyed around with it for a little while because I played her up to like level 7 or 8, I think. Um, and I tried Bolt. I tried the enhanced Frost Elemental and Ring of Frost. Ring of Frost is people don't expect you to have that second pop in the center of the ring, but Water Elemental's more like you can guarantee a hit on it. You typically, if they get hit by the first Ring of Frost and they're running out of it, they're going to run to the outer circle, not into the circle.
Right, exactly.
So it's more difficult to hit that. The Water Elemental has more sustained damage, and in the late game, especially because games are going on a lot longer now. Like I'm sure you notice, it's like 5 to 7 minutes longer generally.
Yeah, we had a game that we were clearly losing today that went on much longer than I would have expected it to. Although part of that was because of the testicular fortitude of the people we were fighting against. But yeah, I'm not gonna name names. Take off your sundress, fellas.
Resurgence is still an issue, in my opinion. I don't like Resurgence at all. It pushes the games out way too long.
Well, yeah, that seems to be a popular opinion. What do you think of the idea circulating around that you instead pop up where you're standing?
I don't like it.
Now just cut the whole thing.
Yeah, because if you think about it, like you have someone diving, like say someone's diving the core's at 5%. It's like 30 minutes into the game, and you have, let's see, who's a really, really high damage dealer? Like Illidan, because of his evasion. He's in there. Well, he doesn't have Resurgence. It's a dumb idea. Arthas. There you go. Arthas. Arthas is in there. He does a high amount of damage. You run in there. Core's at like 5%. He hits it a couple times, gets it down to 3. They run out. He Resurgence, pops up on the core, and pops his army of the dead and just annihilates it.
Yep.
Like, that would be super imbalanced because people just do yellow pushes on the core all the time. And that's what Blizzard was trying to avoid. But the fact that like people can rush core, die, and then have 3 people pop back up and defend their core, that's not really a good idea.
Yeah, I was about to say, if anything, it makes Resurgence even stronger. Now, I understand the immediate idea behind it, which is, well, if it's happening in any other point of the game other than a core dive, it's kind of a disadvantage because then you might pop back up and just get killed again. But yeah, no, that just seems to make it even better.
Yeah, and like I have a feeling that like in this next patch we might either see Resurgence completely taken out, or it might reduce your death timer by 30 seconds, 30 to 40 seconds, because at that point it's already 60, 65 seconds. So if you have someone popping up 40 seconds earlier, that's still pretty strong, but it's not going to be as strong as popping up in 5.
Do you feel like we should make all of the other level 20 abilities even better so that taking Resurgence feels like even more of a detriment? Because that's always where my brain goes, is like, why don't we overtune everything else as opposed to nerfing? But it's not always a viable option.
Well, if you think about like Bolt, what would they do to Bolt? Just make it so you can blink further?
Or
like
shorter cooldown.
Because then people would just be blinking all over the place.
Well, it's a 40-second cooldown. I mean, still.
But like it's up every time there's a fight. And that's an issue because people avoid a fight specifically for Resurgence and specifically for Bolt. Bolt's up super quick, so you can, like, Jaina gets caught out of position. She can bolt out real quick and just get out, heal, make sure that she's not going to die.
That's a good point.
But, like, in a 25-minute game, Bolt is so good. Like, if you look at, like, an end-game scenario, most of the time you're going to see people going Bolt or Resurgence. They're not going to pick the secondary tier of their heroic ability. They're going to go for those generic talents. I joined a game and there was like 5 people on the other team. They all went Bolt, and we could not kill them because we'd engage, do a lot of damage, and then they're about to die. They just bolt away, and there was no way we could catch them.
Right.
So.
Gotcha. Okay.
No shield? No love for the level 20 shield ability?
I usually only see that when there's people that there isn't really any other option. Like Rhaegar, people will go Storm Shield just
Mm.
because
I,
Ancest.
I've been known to take Storm Shield with Brightwing,
Yeah, I can see that.
and
Most
it's
people,
totally made and broken some engagements. There's been times where
yeah,
it's just like where we dive on the core, and the only reason we won was because of Storm Shield.
yeah, like on Brightwing, like her Emerald Wind, super super good. Like that extra pulse isn't really going to do much. Like it'll keep him back a little for a little bit more time, but having something like Storm Shield to suck that much more damage, like you
Yeah,
can't argue with that.
yeah.
Well, the one
Um,
that really, hurts me is as a Diablo player, Apocalypse, and then it's 20 augmentation as it goes off again when you die. I don't want to die.
no,
Right.
Apocalypse is actually the worst, worst ultimate of the two, or heroic, in my
Mm.
opinion. Because Lightning Breath, like, did you see? Like, I don't think they exactly said that there's a speed increase on the amount of like how fast the damage ticks on his ultimate a couple patches ago, but you see a lot more pro teams going for that Lightning Breath because people will engage on top of him. You can't stop him because he's unstoppable. Um, but people will just fight on top of it, and
Yeah.
he's just dealing all that damage in an AoE area cone in front of him. So,
Yeah, I mean, if you have any type of stun on your team, that's just it's absurd. Even if they're
mhm.
not getting out of it like they should, you can stun them and make them stand in it. Now, I lo-
Even Brightwing, you have a fire-breathing squirrel.
exactly, which I have seen and is one of my favorite things in this game. Just for the record.
Yeah, it's
Um,
glorious.
so, all right, awesome, awesome. So,
So we talked a
um,
lot about, what's good, what's bad, like what became, is there things that people should avoid right now? Certain heroes?
Mm,
Was it a good patch?
it was a pretty good patch, in my opinion.
Nice.
I was about to say that I've been pretty impressed with it. Like the one of the I think earliest or easiest points to bring up is take Nova for example. Nova was nerfed, but she is still 100% viable in my opinion. We're still seeing a lot of her. She's still quite effective.
I
Mhm.
find it fascinating that this week's free rotation has Tassadar and Nova, so it seems like they're even on top of countering her inside of their free to play.
I think that what they're doing with the free-to-play rotations right now is making it so that they can test heroes out. Like they just released a wave of people and like or release a wave of invites. So like, hey, we have all these new players. Let's have them play the heroes that we just changed, like Nova and Tassadar, and see how many people actually play them.
That's true. He did get nerfed against Nova with the Oracle duration decrease and all that.
Well, that and Tass isn't as strong as he was as far as damage goes. They pushed him more towards that support route like he should have been, and then they decreased Nova's damage a little bit. I think she's a little too strong still, because pop you're still dead. But the rewind nerf was amazing. Not dying in a single
Yeah.
rotation of abilities is so nice. You're like,
from
That
hey
had
Nova.
to happen. It absolutely needed to be done. Um, God, it
You
was
see
so
Nova pop
ridiculous.
out before the patch, and you're just like, thank you,
And I'm
thank you. I
dead.
needed that. Especially as like Illidan. Illidan couldn't do a thing as squishy as he was, and his evasion ability only worked on physical attacks. So any ability would still hit him unless you get talented, and that's a waste of a talent in my opinion. But yeah, just a dead Illidan. That's all you were with the Nova in a game.
Yeah.
It does seem like assassins are, at least on Tychus, because I play a lot of him. Right now, I feel required to take first aid and stone shield.
Hmm.
Is that pretty much a universal thing, or
It depends on the build. Like people are still experimenting with him. Since all the changes, like I'm sure if you looked at all, like there were a lot of shadow nerfs. Like there were a lot of non undocumented changes to heroes that weren't on the patch notes. And I guess they're working on that. They're going to be a little bit more thorough next time, but they apparently just like really quickly just released all that. Um, so like more heroes were put in line with where everyone else was. It seems like they're just trying to make it so that when beta hits next month, that we won't have to deal with all these overpowered heroes. So like when you have heroes like Lily that sees an increase in healing done, which she's kind of like people are still experimenting with her. They're still reworking her kit, but she does a lot more healing than she used to. She does more healing than overall than most other heroes in games now, just because you can't catch her.
Okay.
Um, Heroes like Nazebo got a buff, which I don't understand because he was already pretty good as is.
What?
Let's
What?
see.
Nazebo? No. No,
Hmm?
I have no issues dying to Nazebo constantly, all the time, every day.
I was watching a Cloud9 play a game, and their Nazebo, I can't remember who it was, put a zombie wall up before he started ulting, and the other team Stitches went for a hook and hooked a zombie instead of Nazebo
Wow.
Oh,
because of the timing. So he knew that he was going to go for that hook, so he just threw up the zombie wall and ulted, and that's all she wrote. They couldn't do anything about it.
that's amazing.
That's going to be so cool to see those combinations in the future.
Yeah, and it's only going to get worse. Like I said with the Thrall
That's
thing,
one way to
like
put it.
Only going to get
you're
worse.
gonna
It's only
see.
going to get more exciting.
Oh, I shouldn't say worse. It's going to be fantastic, but people are just going to be even more facepalm when they see stuff like that happen.
I mean, I don't. Part of me, obviously, there's it's a balancing act. At one end is Nova with rewind, and it's just too goddamn much. But then
Mhm.
you've got things like what you just said, which is this just miraculous reflex and understanding of the game and of the moment in the game where you see something beautiful, and
Mhm.
that's awesome. And
Yeah,
that's
and
what I look for
I
in
think
these
it
types
was
of games.
I think it was Shamtu who was casting the game at the time, and he was flipping out when that happened. He's like, "Did you see that wall?"
Oh, geez. Well, dude, Meg, thanks so much for coming on and kind of giving us a real brief rundown of where Heroes is right at this moment. Hopefully, some folks can take this knowledge with them into the many games I'm sure they're going to play when they aren't working over the Christmas break. And if
Oh
you
yeah,
are
for
working over
sure.
the Christmas break, I'm sorry, and I hope I didn't make it too annoying. So, anyways, dude, where can folks find you?
You guys can find me at DDayDrayson on Twitter. That's majority of the time that's where I'm at. You can find me on my Twitch occasionally. I don't stream quite as much as I would like to, but just because I'm busy trying to write some more stuff for Nexus Champ and all that. So, um, but if you see me online, come say hi, hang out. I know I come and hang out with you guys quite often when you're doing your shows. So, see me in the chat room, say hi.
All right, awesome, dude.
Awesome.
Have a good one.
Cool. Catch you guys later. Have a good show.
Thanks.
Thanks for joining us.
All right, well, that means it's time to jump right into the news.
We're on, boys! Ha ha! Let's liven up this place!
Point me to the stage.
Click the play button, and let's get started.
All right, Uther. We got some store changes this week. First up, I mentioned briefly while we were talking to Mike that Jaina is now down to the permanent 10,000 gold cost. So if you've been saving your gold and not wanting to spend that over bloated price for Jaina, now is the time because it's not going to get cheaper than this. Next week, they'll have a Christmas sale and she'll be cheaper than this, and I'm going to call Garrett a liar.
Well, that's classic Blizzard fashion.
I don't think they'll do that, but
No.
anyways, so this is great. I've been seeing more Jainas as a result. I don't just get an automatic instant queue anymore by playing Jaina, which is sad. You know, little tear squirted out. But yeah, I'm stoked. You gonna be picking up Jaina, Kyle, or are you still just not all that interested?
I think Zagara's next on my list of gets.
Oh, I forgot you didn't have her yet. Yeah, she.
No.
You gotta have Zagara, man.
Yeah, exactly. Got to represent that Zerg. Jaina will be an eventual purchase, but I don't. The only reason I want to play her is the whole I want to take them from somebody else. Like if I just play Jaina, that means that guy over there who's dying all the time isn't Jaina. It's the same problem I'm having with Arthas right now. I'm just I'm going to buy Arthas, and then I won't have these dumb Arthases.
Oh, you're having. Oh, so you're saying you're having bad Arthases or bad Jainas, so you want to play them so you don't get a bad one of those.
I'm having WoW tank issues.
Yeah, that's exactly why I started tanking in WoW. Exactly why I started tanking in WoW. Also in the store this week, we got some new skins. Malfurion got his Betrayer skin, which looks absolutely awesome, and I need it. I need it right now, Kyle. As well as Tyranda's Warden skin, which is also great. Lots of Night Elf love. I'm a Night Elf sucker, so more skins that I really want.
I'm really surprised they went with this route. We know a Warden's coming at some point. And granted, you know, this isn't like a one-to-one translation. It's not like they're dressing up another hero as a hero already in the game completely, but it's still a little confusing.
Well, I mean, they did that to Muradin. They have the King Magni Bronzebeard skin,
That's true. They're covering various heroes that could be in the game, but instead they just combine them. Whereas this is definitely like it's Malfurion. Illidan? No, never mind. It didn't do any flips over my head. I'm good.
Right. Well, Illidan already has this skin that makes him look like Malfurion. So it's only fitting that Malfurion gets his alter ego.
Fair enough. I'm looking forward to more of these.
Okay, I was just going to say, just be glad they didn't just slap a goatee on him and call him like Nega Malfurion.
That'd be awesome.
So
just do the old Star Trek thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, oh, there he is, my evil brother.
I mean, they talked about this too with doing the Overwatch sniper character and saying, that'll probably just be like a skin for Nova. What I'm really excited though, and I hope they do, and I hope Blizzard's listening, is give me an adjutant Abathur. Like, just, say, like, I can see it, like, slithering on the ground, crazy robot lady, all the cables trailing out behind her, laying mines everywhere.
Oh, that sounds kind of...
Spawning tiny robots.
Oh, man. Oh, I'm so into that idea. Oh, make that happen. Because there was an amazing cosplay a few years ago at BlizzCon, where the lady made the adjutant, and that's how she did the legs. It was just all covered in wires and whatnot. Oh, man. I want to go play StarCraft. Smacking my mic like a noob. I've been doing that a lot lately. I apologize. Games on Net got to talk with one of the Heroes devs, John. This was kind of sparked as a result of stim packs being out of the store and everything, but they talked about a lot of stuff. First and foremost, that they're actually quite happy with where Jaina is right now. And to expect, they gave us a brief update on Thrall, Sylvanas, and the Last Vikings that all three of them will be releasing in the earlier part of next year. So early 2015 is when we should be seeing those three new heroes.
Which is understandable. We have the closed beta happening in January, and that's going to bring with it draft. And I would be very surprised if we saw any heroes added within a month of that.
That's a really good point. Although, I don't know. I mean, why not? That's really, really good test fodder. You get some. I would think you get some really interesting results from having a new hero added while draft is a thing, or while draft is fresh and new.
True. I just think the balance might go a little wonky once we can pick counters instead of just happening to have it.
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, we'll have to see, and there's still plenty of esports already happening that don't allow mirror matchups, so Blizzard pays attention to that type of stuff. They have in the past. I wouldn't see any reason why they wouldn't do it now. So I don't think it'll be as insane as you might think. And as we've seen with their other games like Hearthstone, they don't wait till a nice, pretty, convenient date to release the new thing. It's just, well, it's down here. It's in the game. Go. We gave you 4 days notice. Enjoy. So, and that's what they've been doing with heroes. I mean, we don't know what heroes being added to the game until rumors the night before.
I'm okay with this. I love that, GVG came out right when I wanted it, rather than what I did with StarCraft 2 and sat for 3 years on my hands.
Exactly. No, I'm kind of down with that too. It's a nice surprise. They also mentioned that they were still very happy with talent gating. We know my opinion on the matter. I'm not going to get into it.
Sure. But
interesting to see that. And honestly, we've been hearing plenty of positive feedback about it from all of the new players that have been getting into the game. Been seeing people talk about it on Twitter and in our inbox, and they're just like, it's not that bad. I don't see what everyone's all ticked about. Well, talk to me when you have 10 heroes. And number 11 comes out, and you're just like, I know what to do.
Well, and I was playing Zagara this past week. She was free to play. Haven't played her since the reset. And her level 20 augmentation wasn't available. I had to pick, what was it, Bolt or whatever the other passive one? Oh, Riding, which was actually pretty sweet on Zagara. Being able to not be unmounted and going faster worked out well. But, I still would have liked to have the option.
Yeah. They also mentioned that Lever's jail is going to be slowly ramped up over time, though they didn't give a whole lot of details as to what that means exactly.
Yeah, they're going to start with maybe a warning, perhaps, and you're going to be banished there for a game, and then as the system gains more awareness, the punishment will be more severe.
Your punishment will be more severe. Lovely, lovely. They said skins are expensive because they are high quality, and that they will implement a system later so old content is cheaper. I'm down with that.
Cool.
And that they also said there are a lot of hidden or heroes hidden in the data mines. They said heroes get combined and cut all the time because people brought up Goblin Sappers. They said that the Goblin Sappers abilities eventually merged into what Murky is now.
Good. Make more defined heroes. It's always a little sad to see, copy paste with a little bit of color thrown in. So I'm glad they've gone with this method, though it, does leave these files hidden in the background that get us excited.
Yeah, absolutely. But let's
Goblin Sappers. I can't say I'm too excited about that idea.
It's a pretty bad card in Hearthstone too. So yeah. Anyway, let's take a couple of the highlights we wanted to mention, which was our full-on question and answers. Games on Net asked related. They said, let's talk about the addition of stim packs. What's your motivation behind introducing these, and what makes them a better option for a customer than to just being able to purchase gold outright with real-world money? To which the developer, John, said, we wanted to provide a way that players can boost progression, and we know that a significant portion of our player base doesn't have the available playtime to progress to the level they'd like. We see stim packs as a way to get to progression rewards more efficiently for those players, similar in some ways to a World of Warcraft level 90 boost or directly buying Hearthstone packs. The reason we're moving forward with stim packs instead of, as you said, purchasing gold with money is that we still want game rewards to be earned through gameplay, not just by buying the reward directly. We're exploring ideas beyond just master skins that will require gold and or experience.
That's the one that really kind of sparked my interest.
Okay.
You increase the value of gold, and maybe I want a stim pack.
Okay. That's a good point. I kind of just burrowed through that. That didn't even register with me. That's a good point. I still
right.
I still don't want to buy them.
Right, yeah. We have the pig, which is you skipped 2 master skin for some reason. Okay, maybe you play Brightwing and Murky. I kind of like Murkies. Never mind that. But either way, you didn't like master skins for some reason. And the pig isn't exactly bumping.
Oh, sorry. You made a reference to those two because they have dumb-looking master skins. Yeah, you're totally wrong about Murky. Murky's master skin is badass looking.
It's so wacky.
Brightwings is still one of the worst things I've ever seen, and I'm so angry. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm a little sad that the Infested Tychus is so damn good because I don't want the master skin, though I grow ever closer to it by the day.
Yeah, man, you've been tearing it up with Tychus. See what I did there?
Tearing
it up. Yep. They said they're not planning on stim packs that only increase the gold gain, at least not right now, and that they said gold gain is where they want it to be, also in reference to those things. Games on Net also asked if they could tell them a bit more about the new maps, Sky Temple and Tomb of the Spider Queen, and asked what the map objective of the Tomb of the Spider Queen was. John replied, Sky Temple was demoed at BlizzCon and it will be released next year. So we know that. But let's get to the Tomb of the Spider Queen because he said that they plan on releasing Tomb of the Spider Queen a little while after Sky Temple, that they're still tweaking the specifics and looking forward to sharing more of the details closer to release. He did say that Tomb of the Spider Queen was concepted roughly in tandem with Sky Temple, which I think we kind of got the vibe from because they both have this really kind of high fantasy Egyptian vibe.
Yeah.
But he said that they wanted to contrast the gameplay of the two. So Sky Temple is huge and focuses on team fighting at battleground hotspots, while Tomb of the Spider Queen is much smaller and focused on staying in lane to complete objectives. So that's interesting. Yeah, that's the most interesting non-answer he could give.
From the moment, it seems like you're going to get these spider tokens off of actual creeps in lane, which will be fascinating.
Oh, does it
from the little bit we saw at BlizzCon, not here. He didn't say that here. But we know you were collecting tokens again, and then we get those very close to the lane, almost like the Blackheart's Bay golem in the very top. It's just like right off of it.
Oh, I like that.
You're not running into the woods like Cursed Hollow or really getting invested in the coin turn-in area.
Well, I mean I'm going to, for lack of a better word, call them the Egyptian artillery in Sky Temple is pretty close to the paths as well in the top, middle, and bottom.
That's true.
But it definitely takes a lot of attention. Like when you commit to trying to take that, it's going to take you a while. It sounds like maybe Tomb of the Spider Queen is going to be a little more quick fire. Like if you want to deny this type of thing, you're going to have to really keep an eye on it and move to defend against your opponents, taking this is all speculation, but I would assume that if they're trying to contrast it, that would be a way to do it.
The facts we have is going to be smaller, and that sounds pretty sweet because maps keep getting bigger and longer. So hey, let's do it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Another little smaller, kind of crazy, aggressive map.
It's all intimate.
And finally, Games on Net asked, can you detail why Heroes uses a rotating hero model and not an all heroes free but but you pay for skins model? What advantages does this offer? And John said that first, on the player side, buying a hero with money or gold immediately gives players a sense of ownership and commitment to their favorites. Second, on the development side, we believe that this model is the best way for us to continue to support the game at the scope we're planning. More maps, more heroes, and more features that require extensive production and testing. We want to make sure we deliver the high quality you might expect for investment on multiple levels. The hero itself, with a unique skill set and many gameplay customization options through talents exclusive unlocks like portraits, mounts, skins, and more. He said that this model allows us to deliver on this level of depth and quality for each hero and sustain that level for the future. So it's really honest, saying like, hey, if we have a steady stream of income, we'll be able to make this game better and have more frequent updates.
Right, and they're not outsourcing it like Dota. So all of a sudden, that makes a lot more sense. We can disagree with it from just a player standpoint. I think having a profile is a perfectly good way to feel ownership over my particular heroes.
You mean like a Dota 2 profile?
Yeah, like someone clicks on your name and they say...
Let's not beat around the bush, Kyle.
What?
Let's not beat around the bush, Kyle. You're talking about the profile in Dota.
Exactly, yeah. Here's the 3 heroes you're really awesome with. Here's one you can put in the middle and let people spin it around and take a look at the money you've spent.
Yeah, I mean, we've obviously talked on the show at length about how we both came from Dota, and that's kind of the model we prefer. That being said, having played now probably more heroes than I have ever played Dota, and definitely feel
take me a long time to get there.
I know that'll take you a long time, but it will not take me. I can't argue with this. This is a really, really honest answer, and this is fine. I'm not jumping for joy over stim packs. It's not the type of monetization I like to see in games, but whatever. As we kind of came to a conclusion a few weeks ago, it doesn't directly affect me in any way, shape, or form. So who cares? And at first, like you read, like he's like, well, buying a hero with money or gold, it gives you a sense of ownership. First, I'm just like, that's so cheesy. But then I think about it, I'm like, no, I really do think of like Arthas is my hero and Zagara. And I think of my stable of heroes that I have unlocked or bought with real money. And I do really have an attachment to just about all of them. Like even an Uberak, who I don't play as much. Like I think about the games I play with him. I'm just like, good times. Like, I don't know. He's not wrong.
Yeah. I'm just looking forward to some of those additional features. Being able to, at the very least, when I'm picking heroes, maybe augment my screen so I can increase the size of certain heroes and decrease the size of some of the other buttons. This is, again, another Dota profile thing. I apologize.
I will let it. I'll let it stand. I'll let the one go. Yes, chat room boils it down to the advantage it offers is more money.
It's true, but hey, if that means they get to dedicate a team to it and keep making really awesome skins and stuff, like, man, Tychus is hot, and I am itching to get myself an Abathur skin if they're actually going to follow through with what they said. I mean, little toy trains blowing up on the map, I'm just sold. Granted, that was our idea, but, I'm still excited for it.
Yeah. No, it's was that our idea? Are you sure?
They said they're augmenting those skins because Abathur sits in the back of the base and no one sees your skin. So it's important that your silly hat and your mines give some characterization of your skin.
Gotcha. Okay. All right.
Yes, about a Dirk, I agree. There's no gifts yet. It's a rather janky system to be like, here, here, PayPal.
Sorry, what?
Oh, there's no gift system in game, so you can't go buy a friend a skin or a hero and send it.
Right. Yeah, I've been saying the same thing about Hearthstone today, and a lot of people did remind me that if you are the type of person that wants to gift like in-game Blizzard goodies of some form or fashion that you should just give folks a Battle.net gift card.
True.
Because then you give people cash, they probably pay for rent or dinner or something. Like, but you give someone like a gift card for Battle.net, like, no, asshole, buy some Hearthstone packs. Buy that skin that you wanted for Jaina. It's Christmas, damn it. Get festive. So.
Well, apparently, About a Dirk is going to gift you Lily when it becomes available.
About a Dirk, I would play the hell out of Lily just because it was a gift. It's like wearing your grandmother's super itchy sweater that she knitted you, full of tears and cat hair, and you suffer through it for that entire Christmas Day dinner because she made it for you.
It's so special to her.
It is. Speaking of more money, want to give a shout out to patreon.com/ITN and all of our patrons over there who are subscribing to Into the Nexus and supporting the show. Since there's no show next week and we're unsure if we'll have an episode the week of New Year's because we're both kind of unsure what our New Year's week is looking like. This may be the last episode of the year. So thank you to all of the people who have supported us. We launched the Patreon this year, and it's been wonderful. So to all of our patrons, thank you guys so very much. It's been wonderful. It's been really cool. I wasn't sure how Patreon was going to go over, and for the 2 shows that I have it for, it's been great.
There's nothing better to say, man. Thank you so much for everyone who's been giving to the show there. It means we can invest that much more time into this show, make it that much better, and be professionals about it.
Yeah. And Lee, you know who you are. Thank you for the Christmas gift, pal. That was very kind of you.
Yeah, thank you.
So anyways, let's talk some strategy.
Choose a talent.
Choose a talent.
Talent? Ah, that seems generous.
Impressive work, hero. I think you're ready for more.
You know, I close my eyes and pick one every week, and today was both Uther for the news bumper and the strategy bumper.
Nice. That's continuity.
It just happened, which is fitting because we're going to talk about Arthas. We got an email from listener Cheesy Bob, which just makes me want to go watch Bob's Burgers because I love that show so much. He writes, Garrett talks a lot about how great Arthas is, but when I tried him out, I just felt like I wasn't really doing much. How do you play him, and what makes him your favorite? I would like to get good at him, but something about him seems to evade my grasp. Could you maybe do an in-depth discussion on playing him? Well, Cheesy Bob. Oh, there are a few things where I'm just like, hell yes, I would be glad to talk about my favorite hero to play at length and in depth.
With pleasure. Yeah, well, and we've even kind of circled around this topic the past couple of weeks going, man, those Arthases, we know how good you are, but you suck at him. So let's go ahead and dive into it proper.
So Arthas is, at his core, he's powerful because he can take a lot of damage, but he can also put out a lot of damage. He for a warrior, for a tank-like hero in Heroes of the Storm, he can dish out a surprising amount of punishment. And it's great. So that's, like, if I just boiled it down to its essence, that's Arthas. That's why he's awesome. But that's not what Cheesy Bob wants. So newcomers to Heroes of the Storm, we're going to get a little deep.
Well,
so just come on this journey with me.
I think a lot of it is because Arthas is just naturally cool, that we see a lot of bad people. Because they may be coming from other games, particularly WoW. And if you're not a StarCraft player, like when I got into the game, of course, I was like, Kerrigan, go! And then, maybe that's not my flavor. But either way, everyone can agree that Arthas tromping across the fields is childhood memory lane.
Yes. I mean, if you're coming to Heroes of the Storm and you've never played any isometric mouse-based game, you're going to stumble a little bit. But
oh, absolutely. But if you're just a guy who got Heroes accidentally, maybe you signed up for all the betas for some reason, you've never played another Blizzard game, looking at the various characters, you go, whoa, ETC, whoa, Breakwing, oh, hey, Arthas, this guy looks like a badass. Yeah. So let's, I guess for lack of a better structure to talk about, I want to talk about each ability and then the talents I like for that ability. So it can be a little more freeform and not just
Well, let's go to look at the level 1 talents. Let's look at the level 2. Maybe I'll do a recap at the end. Anyways, so his first ability, his Q ability, is Death Coil. If you play a Death Knight in World of Warcraft, you're familiar with Death Coil. And it does more or less the same thing. It fires a projectile. It looks like a green flaming skull, and it does damage to a target enemy. However, you can actually cast it on yourself to heal yourself. And the self-heal actually does more healing than the offensive damage, which it's an interesting thing to note. I mean, a lot of times you're going to end up using Death Coil to get that last hit off on your fleeing opponent to kill him, and it's awesome. But it's also great that you can heal yourself with this. And
right, you do have, Howling Blast, but you're a melee character for the most part, so this is how you get that runaway. Absolutely.
Now, as far as Death Coil is concerned, the talent I really like is the level 16 talent. Now, I could argue that I could make arguments for all the talents, but there's actually 2 options for augments to your Death Coil, and my favorite one is the talent Embrace Death, because Kyle, we're a Death Knight, so
sure, gotta embrace it.
Yeah, basically Death Coil will deal 20% more damage for each 10% of life you're missing. So this scales the more damage you have taken. And I believe I mentioned it a while ago, like quite a while ago, because Death Coil originally wasn't on Arthas. He had a much more boring kit, and he was one of the worst heroes in the game at the time. Death Coil was one of the new moves he got, and it made him amazing. And when this new revamped Arthas came in, one of the first things I did was I grabbed Arthas, I took this talent, Embrace Death, a Nova popped out of nowhere and started attacking me and dropped an orbital strike. And like right on top of us, because I'm engaging her and she drops an orbital strike on top of me. I stood it on purpose, and it did enough damage to where my Death Coil was just like a one-shot kill on the Nova. It was amazing. And I just started cackling like the Joker.
Well, it's an incredible ability, really plays to him being a tank, and definitely the strongest Death Coil augmentation you can take.
Yeah, no, it's good. I mean, there's plenty of other things you can take. I'm not saying that's the right one, but that's what I enjoy. Death Coil is just versatile, and it gives you options, and I love stuff like that. I really do. So let's talk about his W ability, Howling Blast, which I think this is the cornerstone of why your team should love and will love you if you get good with Howling Blast, because it's
much like Stitch's hook, this is why you get called out for not being so hot.
Exactly. This is the linchpin in the Arthas grenade. If you miss with Howling Blast, it is one of the worst feelings in the world. But when you land it, man, either you like do a good initiation with this, or it's always good when the opposing team is retreating and you catch that one guy and you just dive on top of him and you guys get one more kill than you would have otherwise. It's a great tool in the arsenal. However, it's a relatively small area of effect. It's got a decent sized casting range, and unaugmented, it only roots one target. But it freezes them there for 1.5 seconds. It deals a small amount of damage, but it's just such a good piece of Arthas' toolkit. And when you first get in and you play Arthas, you're going to realize real quick he doesn't have an obvious escape mechanism. Howling Blast is his escape mechanism. If you have to retreat, if you get caught out of position and you're caught by an assassin, say an Illidan gets the jump on you, happens all the time, you can Howling Blast Illidan and get away. It gives you that like 1.5 seconds that you need to create some distance.
And just to avoid emails coming in, Howling Blast roots everything in its area effect. You can talent it later to do more than that.
You're right. You're absolutely right. Very seldomly do you get more than one target, but yeah, you're right. There's a level 13 talent where it will freeze everything in the path that it travels. I don't always take that one. Actually, probably the thing I take all the time is my level 1 talent. I almost always go for the 2-second cooldown reduction on Howling Blast, because being able to use it more, like I said, this is the ability that I believe is the kind of the linchpin for Arthas, so I like to be able to use it as much as possible. So he's got good crowd control. Frozen Tempest is his E ability. This is like it's an aura-like ability. He creates in a circle around him is just constant damage, and it's a toggle. You can hit E to turn it on, and you hit E to turn it off. While it is on, it just drains mana constantly. 12 mana per second, and it just goes away. But this is like another thing you need to keep reminding yourself to turn this on when you engage in a fight, and then turn it off afterwards so you don't drain all your mana. It's another little, what's the word I'm looking for? Discipline that you need to learn with Arthas. Arthas has a rhythm.
Yeah, it's practically a rotation WoW style. And if you just leave this on in the background without managing to be really good at Frostmourne Hungers, you will be out of mana all the time. This ability also hits things that are invisible. So it's incredible against people like Nova and, Mines of Abathur and Creep Tumors of Zagara.
Man, I just love turning this thing on and just running through all the bushes around me just to make sure.
And it does slow. So a lot of people end up taking the level 1 augmentation for the increased 33% radius. And since it is a big circle, 33% is quite a bit. And it may be that extra snag you get. Granted, like, it's that tough. Like, do I Howling Blast 2 seconds earlier and that got the kill? Or was it my increased range of the Frost that slowed him down so I could get that kill?
I think they're both really viable. I almost always go for Frost Presence, which is the Howling Blast cooldown reduction, because it's just the place that I prefer. But anytime I get into a mirror matchup against another Arthas, this is almost the thing that clearly differentiates us, because we'll engage each other, and his Frozen Tempest is much larger than mine.
In my opinion, Frozen Waste, the level 1 talent that increases the radius, is really only worth it if you're going to get the level 13 talent, Biting Cold, where you're going to increase the damage and the cost of it by 50%, because then you're making that investment towards it being something you're using all the time. Granted, you might think that's a great idea level 1, get to level 13 and go, oh no, I need Relentless, I need Spell Shield.
Yeah, both of those are such good survivability talents. I really prefer Spell Shield at level 13. That's the one I tend to lean towards the most. But I never thought about it like a WoW rotation. He does really feel like a WoW character. They kind of nailed it.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah. And then let's talk about his trait, which is Frostmourne Hungers. His trait is not passive. It's not something that just happens like a lot of the heroes in Heroes of the Storm. It is actually active. You have to tap the D hotkey to activate it. And what it does is Frostmourne starts glowing, and the next basic attack you make, it's going to do 100% increased damage, and it restores 30 mana. So this is this is one of the reasons Arthas does a lot of damage as a warrior, because 100% increased damage is a lot. And it also gives him the sustain he needs to feed his ability Frozen Tempest, because it's constantly eating away at your mana. But as long as you stay on top of keeping Frostmourne Hungers on cooldown, you're not going to have a lot of mana issues.
And that's really the amazing thing about Arthas is you stay in fights, and as long as you're on top of this ability's cooldown, you will have mana, and you're managing your Tempest well. Yeah. You'll be set, and you won't have to run back like Kerrigan or Diablo. Even Muradin barely now has some of those mana issues. Sonya has no mana, so nothing wrong with that warrior.
Yep. And at level 4, if you find you're having mana issues, you can get Eternal Hunger, which augments Frostmourne Hungers to return double the amount of mana. It gives you 60 instead of 30. My favorite, I just go with Destruction. It's a good fire and forget. It just makes the damage boost go from 100 to 150 damage. And again, very noticeable. Another thing that I notice kind of sets me apart from other Arthases when we get into mirror matchups, I notice I tend to go for Destruction where they might go for, Envenom or Eternal Hunger. But it's up to you. Both are good, situational. Superiority is great if you're low on healers and you need more survivability. So,
well, that's one of the cool things about this talent system, because you're, describing your particular play style with him. I have a completely different one. I'm almost entirely Frozen Tempest and Frostmourne Hungers based. Like, I grab that 33%, and then I go, if I need the mana, mostly Destruction. But really, that is all about getting down to level 16, where I'm going to have my next 2 basic attacks have the Frostmourne Hungers effect on them.
Yeah, no,
and that allows me to slam with the extra damage you're hitting for like 500. Taking Frost Strike at level 7 gives you a 40% slow on the target. So you're basically just slam. You've done about 1,000 damage to them on auto attacks.
Yeah, and there's a good chance that if you landed that Howling Blast, that there's nowhere they can go.
No. And you're probably going to land it because they're slowed by 40%. That's one of the biggest slows in the whole game.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts. So Frostmourne Hunger is really important thing.
We got to take a second though to talk about the level 7 ability Rune Tap, though.
It's kind of I think it's the right choice.
That's the problem. Like, it is so good.
Rune Tap, if you haven't played Arthas, it's a level 7 talent you can take, and every third basic attack heals you for 3.9% of your maximum health. It's a small heal, but when you're whacking away on things, which is a melee hero you're doing, this adds up over time. This makes him really good for helping take mercs and, you know, tanking the knights or bruisers or whatever the hell they're called now.
Well, and if you're thinking about this in terms of League of Legends or Dota, you're going to have a completely skewed view, because making a bunch of auto attacks just whenever is a horrible idea. You're calling yourself a noob and you're pushing a lane that probably doesn't need to be pushed. Whereas in this game, attacks are constantly being made because you are gaining XP for your whole team off of those minion kills.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, it works early because you're in the laning phase, and it works late when you're actually noticing a big, you know, a large wave of creeps has appeared in the top lane. No one's there, and you're like, XP boost. I'm going to go grab all of those. And oh, look, I'm full healed at the end of this.
It's one of those strange abilities that I can't wait for pro players to kind of, like, we're talking years in the future when abilities, we have no idea what they're doing, but it's every third basic attack, it heals you. Muradin has an ability where every, I think it's third attack on a single target does a stun. But this doesn't have to be the same target. You can do 2 attacks in one lane, ride across half the map, and hit another guy and get healed.
Yeah.
Just this counter in the background.
It's great. I love.
So I'm curious if, like, heroes are gonna be like, hold on, I'll be right there. Cling, cling. Okay, I'm ready.
I mean, well, the only reason that would be good is if you're entering the battle damage.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
So I'm not
Probably
sure.
should do that.
I'm not sure that'll be a thing. So I don't know, but anyway.
Min-max and man, you gotta be ready for it.
Yeah. Let's talk about the heroic choices, because you have the choice between Army of the Dead, which does exactly what it says. It summons a bunch of undead. They last for 15 seconds. And then heroics are bound to R. When you hit Army of Dead, all of a sudden your R button becomes Sacrifice Ghoul. And you can consume your ghouls one at a time for a 750 health heal. Obviously, it scales over time, 180 plus 30 per level. It's a huge heal. And this is another, again, you can tell from listening to me, I play a lot of pickup games. So when I get into those games where it's like, where there's no support or the support is Tassadar, and I know I'm not going to catch a lot of heals, Army of the Dead is the way to go, because you can just outlive everything with a well-timed Army of the Dead.
And I've been stuck, behind some creeps, got body blocked. Even, you get a little stuck on these Army of the Dead ghouls. They hit decently. If you're a Vala out of mana, unable to vault, you could die from this, but mostly it's about healing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really good. And it causes chaos, which it's great. When you pop this in a team fight, it's just a lot of extra crap running around.
Well, it'd be real interesting down the road, too. Like Vala's Hungering Arrow bounces to different targets. You blow this out, suddenly those targets aren't hitting you. Granted, as people kill your ghouls, they're taking away your heals. So that's definitely a sacrifice there. But it'll be interesting as more abilities come down the lane that have bounce attacks, how good Army of Dead could be. Yeah.
So Army of Dead really, I mean, both his talents are really good. At level 20, you can augment it to get 3 additional ghouls, and they last 50% longer, which it's great, although Resurgence is an option at level 20, so you're probably taking that. The other heroic is Summon Sindragosa. It summons Sindragosa. She flies out and in a straight line, deals a bunch of damage, freezes the area. It slows all of the enemy heroes that are in the area. It freezes minions for 10 seconds and structures. That's the important one that a lot of people forget about. It freezes structures for 20 seconds. So say you're pushing your opponent's fort or town. This is a great initiator for that push. Once the wall gets down, I love slamming down a Sindragosa to hit all the turrets and the fort. All of them are frozen for 20 seconds, and any heroes that were defending the wall are caught in it. It's really great. I feel like Sindragosa shines a little more when you've got a couple buddies with you, or you're in a full pre-made and you have a lot of coordination going on.
Right, you need to have the strategy to dive on top of that if you're using this on heroes. If you're winning, like pushing the base, taking down some towers, Sindragosa is a great boon to that push. But if you're defending or having to use this in a tactical battle situation, a lot of people don't know to take advantage of the slow or dive following the Sindragosa.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's just like, this is now the road to victory, literally. Walk on this ice road, please. Thank you. And kill everything in the path. So Sindragosa is really good too. If you're new to Arthas, I would say default Army of the Dead and just spam R when you pop it to heal yourself. But Sindragosa is a great tool as well. This is one I don't think there's a correct choice here. It's situational, and they're both good. So
it's tough. My personal rule of thumb is it's either Rune Tap or Army of the Dead. You got to have one of them. So if you're going to go Sindragosa, you got to get Rune Tap. There's really no dodging that. If you get Army of the Dead, maybe you can enjoy some Frost Strike.
That's a good point. Yeah, you don't need to necessarily go all in on heals, though it doesn't hurt.
And then you got your level 20 augmentation for Sindragosa, absolute 0. This just stuns people, roots them in place. Not stuns. It's a root for 1.5 seconds and then slows them by 60% after that root. So you're going to get some kills if you're on top of things. I don't know why you would dodge Resurgence of the Storm at the moment. Though to anyone new starting up, as we've talked about on previous shows, you can very quickly lose track of how many deaths you've had with Resurgence of the Storm. And you may be putting your team behind by diving that much.
Yeah, it's a PSA I feel that should be brought up every time we mention Resurgence. Just because you have it doesn't mean you're allowed to die as much as you want.
Right.
So you can.
This is particularly a big problem on Asmodan right now, who has Resurgence of the Storm. I'm seeing a lot of them going, "Oh, it's up! I need to push by myself."
Yeah, yeah. So there's, Arthas more or less in a nutshell. He's really strong. I don't think I'd recommend him as a hero if you've never played before, because as you see, all of his abilities are very active. You have to be on top of it. You have to toggle on and off Frozen Tempest. You have to constantly be tapping D to activate Frostmourne Hungers. Death Coil can be used offensively or defensively. Howling Blast is just a really strong but challenging to land skill shot. Yeah, and I love him to death. I love him to death.
And there's other more forgiving places to get really good at Howling Blast. Tassadar is one. Storm, drop it on creeps. Everyone's going to love you. Storm anything you want. People walk out of your storm, no big deal. You're a caster. But you miss that Howling Blast, people go, "Oh, I don't know about this guy," and perhaps your enemies go, "Let's get him."
Yeah, but put in the effort, learn how to play him correctly. You will be such an important piece to a hero's team that it'll be good. You'll have a good time. I think everyone should learn how to play Arthas, but not too many people because I need to play him.
Not every game, please. With draft mode coming out, I want to play games.
So, anyways, hopefully, Cheesy Bob, that answers your question about why Arthas is so great.
Yeah, and I'd like to do more of these hero exclusives in the future. Arthas is one that seems pretty cemented at the moment. It's a very good staple. I don't think he's going anywhere in kit-wise. We kind of backed off doing hero-specific guides because, well, a lot of them are in flux. Yeah,
that's a really good point. But obviously, I feel like the Arthas love has just kind of seeped out over all 32 episodes.
Right, so if you're one of those in the background that's like, "Shut up, I apologize. It's not over today. I can't make that promise."
Well, that's the majority of it out. There. Boom. Done. Okay,
well,
cool.
We did it.
Off my chest. All right, let's take some emails.
Darkness stopped calling.
Hold on. Darkness just texted me.
Okay, tell them I'm not here.
I keep meaning to ask you, what is that old-ass cell phone bleep noise that you put in there?
The vibrating is actually part of the game.
No, not the vibrating. It's the that's in the game.
Yeah.
Oh man, that sounds like such
phone goes off. It makes that noise.
That sounds like such an old crappy phone. Okay, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, no, Illidan's sporting a pager.
Delightful. He's working for one of the, what's the word I'm looking? What's the guy's name? I was gonna make a Wire reference and I dropped it, so never mind. Doesn't matter.
He's got a car phone.
Yeah, you can send your emails to itncast@gmail.com. Our first email today comes to us from, well, actually, our first email was in strategies, but another email today comes to us from Chris, and he writes, "It was just a brief mention on last week's episode, but what would you guys think of fungal growth as the second ultimate for Abathur. He said, I think that this would be perfect for all these locust spawning meta folks since they are out in the world anyways. As always, thanks for the show. Yes. I can't believe we didn't think of this.
It's a cool idea. I think Bolt of the Storm almost kind of covers this. I mean, granted, you're not locking people down, but this is definitely an escape mechanic. And if you do fungal growth, then level 20, maybe the fungal growth augmentation isn't so hot. Bolt of the Storm. Oh, like there's got to be some danger to being a Abathur push heavy locust build.
Yeah, but also think about well, if they made it good, if they made fungal growth a good ability, think of how much it would make Abathurs out there want to take the risk of helping a team fight by actually being there.
That's true. Like hovering in the background, being just slightly out of range. That's a very good point. And, that's to say that Jaina shouldn't have Bolt of the Storm because she has Circle of Frost. I guess, those two aren't exclusive. It'd be a really great boon to his ability to hold a base when everyone else is dead. Because right now, putting your silly little hat on top of a tower that's going down isn't helping anybody.
Yeah, that's a good...
It's like, hey, can someone get alive so I can copy you?
Yeah, I could see that. I could see it. What if he just spawns a swarm host, man? Like it just spawns and burrows, and then you've got a ton of locusts going down a lane.
That's pretty cool. I do like the idea of augmenting his pushing abilities at the moment. But I think this is a really, really neat idea. What I don't want, of course, is some sort of avatar form for him.
What do you mean?
It's like you choose to make copies of people or turn yourself into a fighting machine.
I don't think they would do that. It's too similar to what he already has.
Yeah.
With more downside.
Yeah.
Why would you take that? Like, why in God's name would you take that? I don't see them ever doing that. I don't think you have to worry, Kyle.
Now, what might be interesting, while we're playing crazy Christmas present land, what if he got an aura of some kind, and by having him around, he was buffing everybody? Either way, I like the idea of him having to be active, pushing with groups with his second ultimate.
Yeah. No, I think that'd be really interesting. I'm just curious. I want to know what the hell they're working on. I wish they would just be like, well, here's our ideas. But I know they're not going to do that because they don't want people to get excited about something they don't end up putting in the game. But I don't know. We'll have to see. Chris, thanks for your email, man. This is a good idea. I can't believe the words fungal followed by growth never left our lips when we were discussing potential ultimates for Abathur. But time will tell. Our next email comes to us from Jared Leggett, as someone who has a hard to pronounce last name, I apologize. He says, hello, ITN casters, Garrett and Kyle. On episode 31, you had a short conversation about Arthas, specifically relating about his potential hero traits. Since he's a Blood Elf, what would you think about something that encourages the player to use his abilities as much as possible? Something like Arthas gains a boost to ability damage proportional to the percentage of his total mana pool that he has used. Man, I hope they think of a more clever way to write that if that's what they end up going with. However, you do have me intrigued, Jared. He said if Arthas currently has 50% of his total mana remaining, his abilities' numerical effects are increased by X%. The idea is that Arthas hits harder when his mana is low, but it becomes important that all of his abilities hit, or it's just wasted mana. I mean, all of your abilities should hit, or it's just wasted mana regardless of the character you're playing. Anyway, sure. As a matter of fact, if he had this, you might want to cast a few abilities that don't hit before you enter a fight, so you hit harder.
Well, that's kind of the cool thing about the idea, though, is revving up.
That is a good point. He said also, if he had traits such as that, he should not have access to Conjurer's Pursuit unless there's another talent option at level 1 that is viable enough to offset that bonus, such as he gets double mana regeneration from regeneration globes or moon wells, but less health regeneration from those same sources. He's just spitballing. He might also get some sort of mana burn ability too. Who knows? Besides the devs. That's a really good point. He said, I think that since it appears likely that Kael'thas will be the next hero in the mage archetype in Heroes of the Storm, this is going to be a really big draw for people who are more familiar with the MOBA genre than people like myself, who have either never played a MOBA before or have not had good initial experiences in the other MOBAs. I'm anticipating that he will also have a fairly high skill cap. Thanks, guys, and I can't wait for the next podcast. Yeah, this could be interesting.
Ultimate, everyone lifts into the air and has to swim around. What? What's going on?
He spawns 5 dudes. You have to kill them, pick up their weapons, and then only can you defeat Kael'thas.
Yeah.
And then he yells it was only a setback, and he comes back as a green zombie.
Yep. Done. Write it. We did it.
I like the idea of a mana burn. I'd love to see them just work in Arcane Torrent directly from World of Warcraft. The racial ability that all Blood Elves have, where it's an AoE silence and they gain a percentage of mana back.
Right, that's a really cool idea. Really anything based off mana. The problem, of course, is the silence is a great idea because there are heroes without mana. Illidan and Abathur, Sonya with her rage. So we can't have a mana burn ability. We could do other things to it, but I doubt they would do that with the way they want to keep things and tooltips pretty descript and concise.
Right, well, I mean, it could be something very similar to the Death Coil talent I was talking about, Embrace Death on Arthas, where it's, 20% more damage on your Death Coil for every 10% of health missing. You could write something like that. Like, Kael'thas will do 10% more damage for every 10% of mana missing.
Right,
could be as
that's
simple
real
as that.
cool. I mean, what my favorite thing about my Diablo Witch Doctor and my Spirit build is everything is so damn expensive. But whenever I cast a spirit spell, I get 100 mana over 10 seconds. So I kind of have like this machine gun infinite ammo. My first 2 casts, they're costing me my whole mana pool. But because I got them off, now I'm like revving up, and over 10 seconds, I've got infinite mana.
Yeah. Eolin in the chat room. I'm sorry, Kyle. He says, Kael'thas's ult should be not giving you a Phoenix mount.
Aww.
Ashes of Alar.
Oh man, yeah, I'm looking forward to him. Flame Strike, gotta have it. Mana, well, I guess he did have mana drain, didn't he? Back in Warcraft 3.
I think you're right, but again, you make a good point. There's heroes that this would have no effect on.
Right, so it does damage to health, and you get mana. Either way, his passive has to be real cool and mana based. We can make that here. We've made our stance, Blizzard.
I feel like Kael'thas is going to come in and he's going to fill the mage void that D-Day was hoping Jaina was going to do.
If he's this tight on mana, absolutely. Otherwise, we might have, even a specialist at this point. He's going to be definitely 100% identifiable because he's going to be all fire all the time.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, it's Kael'thas. He's got an incredibly bright red and gold robe and 3 giant glowing green orbs floating around his head.
And that's the other thing. It could be the orbs. Like, we're talking about mana here. It could be you cast 3 spells. Your next one is now augmented because of the orb time.
I like all these ideas. I'm just excited to see what Kael'thas, how he works.
Definitely. And he seems like he's close in the pipeline after Sylvanas and Lost Vikings.
Right, because we already saw a preview of his model.
Yeah.
But
so we're getting there.
But yeah, exactly. And I want Sylvanas. I know we're gonna get Thrall and Lost Vikings first, I'm sure, because we haven't actually seen a working version of Sylvanas. But
we see pictures of her running away and casting something. But yes, we have definitely seen those other 2 heroes in motion.
Yeah. Anyways, our final email today comes to us from Linnaeus AIE, who writes, "Hey guys, as I am new to mobs." I'm assuming MOBA...
new to mobs.
So new to mobs.
I'm new to them too.
I have a question and a comment. Is it viable to go with a defensive build in Heroes? For example, going with a defensive Tassadar build using shields on, for example, towers to negate or minimize the impact of golems and barrages. Further, as a new player, it's hard to be always map aware, and though pings are helpful, they're not nearly as good as suggestions from a more experienced player. In that thought, I was wondering if you would consider an ITN Mumble server as one of the Patreon stretch goals. That's not a bad idea. Keep up the great work. I didn't see the second half of this, and I'm just kind of reacting to it in real time. I like that idea.
Yeah, it's a neat idea.
We could do that. I think we
Sure,
can do that.
for the
We will
patrons
discuss
and
it, and if we add a new level, we'll let you know.
It'll be in our next meeting.
Yes, the next meeting between the two of us, which is just this right now, except not recorded.
Exactly. And we usually play games in the background.
So it's just like, what do you think about this, Kyle? Yeah, I think that's really important. Son of a bitch, son of a bitch.
What
Get
the
out of that,
fuck?
get out of that. Oh, yes. And then we
You're too far
cheer.
out.
As far as defensive builds, what are your thoughts on
Name
that,
the
Kyle?
one hero that can have it, basically.
Well, I'm glad he said he specified Tassadar, because when I think defensive build, I think warriors, and I'm like, I do defensive builds all the time. I just talked about
gotcha.
when I go defensive on Arthas when there's not a lot of healers. But he's meaning like not, yeah, that's not what he meant, or at least not what he seemed to have meant. I mean, if you're talking about Tassadar specifically, I have seen Tassadars do this, and to great effect. It's incredibly helpful on Haunted Mines.
Right, and that's really the big comment here, is that if you want to ride this every single one, say goodbye to it on Blackheart's Bay, because you ain't protecting nothing.
Yeah,
Those
no,
cannons are going to destroy. I've done it. Like, I've been there and been like, come on, and just shield, cast the shield while the bullets are flying through the air. By the time it gets to the next one, I've got another shield on it. The mule's going. Like, I saved it, but why? Whereas Haunted Mines, absolutely 100%. Tassadar is a badass, doing extra 100% stronger shields for structures, taking that talent where your shields don't completely expire, or taking Mule. I was in a game this past week where I had an Abathur on my team. We won a game where they pushed our core down to 5% because of Mule. And it still is just blowing my mind.
I took it for the first time ever today on Tyrande. And I like Mule a lot.
Feels good. But
Yeah.
level 7, they've packed it with good stuff, no matter what hero has Mule.
Yeah, it's a very, you're making a decision. But yeah, no, Mule is very good, and just the existence of Mule alone, I think, makes, I would say, like, I'm not even sure I would call this necessarily I guess it is defensive technically, but it's like town support. Like, you can go a town support build and it's viable because of the existence of Mule. Mule kind of stacks on top of all these other things that you can do and just makes it better. So, yeah, it's Battleground specific, but I think you can absolutely do this.
Oh, and we, talked pretty exclusively about Mule 2 episodes ago. And since then, since the last patch, they added a little extra to it, that it now grants 1 ammo every 5 seconds while it's healing. This also means, however, that it will continue to heal a tower that is at full health if it is out of ammo.
Yeah, which is a little maddening.
It's a little dumb.
A little bit.
Get a move on, Mule.
Yeah.
As for other heroes, I mean, there's plenty of heroes with Mule. It's a pretty popular talent for most supports. But I think Tassadar is really the one, if you want to be in love with buildings, that's going to get you the furthest. Abathur, you can sit atop buildings, and that shield might help you out, but really it's just not big enough.
No, you can tear through an Abathur shield pretty quickly. No, that's really Tassadar's the only guy that can kind of excel at the build you're talking about, at least at the moment.
Right, and if you want to hold the line, you're a Gazlo player, because you can get set up over the course of 30 seconds like nobody else.
Yeah, but you really should just be in the jungle killing mercs.
Right.
Kill mercs if you're playing Gazo, please. Thank you. So, anyways, hopefully that helps you. And if you also meant for tanks, yes, defensive builds totally work for tanks. Again, situational. If you're low on heals, go that route. If you didn't, that was useless. I apologize.
We're just squeezing in more Arthas. Go Arthas,
No, I didn't say Arthas. You can do this on any warrior. There's all kinds of damage reduction and heal increasing talents you can take on almost every warrior in the game, and it's all viable depending on your team makeup, which is what I love about this game. We also got multiple emails this week looking for pre-mades, because there's apparently a big alpha invite wave went out again. We've been getting tweets all week. Hey, I got in finally, and we're stoked for all of you. A lot of you folks are looking for folks to play with, so we've said it on previous episodes. We'll say it again if you're just now tuning in. Do a /join space AMOVE TV in the chat in the lobby of Heroes of the Storm, and you will join the AMOVE TV chat room. Of which there's always folks hanging out. We're all very like-minded. Lots of people learning the game, looking for people who are of a similar skill level to get in and try their first hand, playing with other people. So do that, especially if you're new, because everyone's been super nice and super awesome, except for that one guy. But we ran his ass out of town.
Yes, that one guy.
That one guy. I'm just
But
making
yeah,
a
if you're looking for co-ops, like join A-Move TV. It's the place to be. We have a versus. I know I'm a little more protective about who I verse with, but co-ops, like that's where you go.
Yeah, man, it's fun. It's a great place to learn. So again, /join space A-Move TV. So that'll do it for this week's episode, guys. And as we said, definitely no show next week because we're going to be off running around opening gifts with family members and whatnot. There may be an episode going up the week of New Year's, but we're not sure. So we'll let you know. Stay tuned to the Twitter @ITNcast. Follow that. And that'll do it. As always, another big thanks to all of our patrons over at patreon.com/ITN. We have thanked every single patron so far. Every single one of you, except for one new one this week, Simon G. So Simon, welcome aboard. Thank you for supporting us. You're now a part of a large group of bosses that we have. So feel free to boss us around. So thank you very much. If you enjoy what we do here at Into the Nexus and you want to help support the show, you got an extra $1 a month, extra $2 a month. You can subscribe for whatever amount you want over at patreon.com/ITN, and we really appreciate it. So thank you guys very much. And also, if you're leaving us reviews in the iTunes store, we also appreciate that because reviews help move stuff around iTunes in some crazy fashion that we don't actually understand. We just know that reviews are a good thing. So this week I wanted to thank Kaijin22 and DK. Thank you very much, guys, for your iTunes reviews. Keep them coming. As always, Into the Nexus is produced by amove.tv and Declan H., our patron producer. So thank you very much, Declan. You can see more about this and all of the other podcasts that Kyle and I do over at amove.tv. They're probably Blizzard related. Spoiler alert.
Possibly, yes, they are.
Yeah. Our email is itncast@gmail.com. Keep the emails coming. We burnt a lot through today, so get some new ones. Get in on the first few episodes in the new year. itncast@gmail.com. We're live most Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/amovetv or over on alphageekradio.com. Our Twitter is @ITNcast. And you can check out Brian Griffith, who made our intro music, over at briangriffithmusic.com. Kyle, when you're not, storming the Nexus, where can folks find you?
You can find me at Kyle Ferguson on Twitter. You can find me at kyleferguson.com, where I've been posting a number of adventure ideas for Dungeons & Dragons campaigns, one of my great loves. And this week I posted my first help article for people making puzzles. So go check that out. Give it a like, tweet about it, whatever you happen to enjoy about it, let me know. And then follow A-Move Radio, another podcast about video games, Star Wars, and whatever happens to be on our minds. New episode coming soon.
Awesome. I'll share a quick story with you. I got together with one of my oldest friends in the world last week for a very quick dinner. Haven't seen him in a while. And he's running around interviewing for his residency because he just finished med school and he's going to run off and be a doctor and do things that just horrify me. And so he was at an interview for his residency, and he's there with a bunch of other candidates, a bunch of other recently graduated med students, and he's like, well, there's this one dude there who's just the most stereotypical looking awkward nerd you've ever seen in your life. He's just got like super curly red hair, big thick glasses, like barely says a word to anyone, and clearly is uncomfortable to be in social situations. So later on, we're in the group interview, and the doctor that's interviewing us is trying to lighten everyone up, and he's asking people what they do for hobbies, and he gets to stereotypical nerd dude, and he just unloads about Dungeons and Dragons, and my friend is just like, you couldn't have written it. It was so just perfect on the nose, and I kind of razz him a little bit for making fun of people for their passion. And then about 5 minutes later, Star Wars comes up, and my buddy just starts going nuts about Star Wars, just losing it. And
Everyone has a thing.
And I go, dude, see, everybody has their Dungeons and Dragons.
And I've got my fantasy football friends. I'm like, what was that stat? All right, yeah, I know that's a ninth level spell. I think we connect on this level.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And I know my buddy doesn't listen, but if for whatever reason you heard this, you're aware that I'm not actually chastising you. I thought this was a brilliant a brilliant random happening in our hangout the other evening. So I don't know. I had a lot of fun with that. I thought it was a fun discussion. So also Star Wars. Holy shit! I'm so excited.
Yeah, well, who isn't?
I need new Star Wars. I need it. So, anyways, if you want to find me on the internet, you can find me on Twitter at GarrettArt, at GarrettArt, or over at nomoonart.com. Yes, it's a Star Wars reference, and yes, it's full of awesome graphic design. And you can go there and you can contact me if you're looking for a graphic designer. So go check that out. And I'm always on the Angry Chicken podcast. You can check out Overwatchers, the Overwatch podcast I recently did with Patrick Beja from France. Because no one can just call him Patrick. He's Patrick from France.
Sure. Well, yeah, some people just, I don't know what happens, but you got to say their full name all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I don't know why. Like when I talk to you, Kyle, it's always Kyle Ferguson. What's up, Kyle Ferguson?
That's true. We do a show together, though, so we may have been skewed over time.
A little bit, yeah. So anyways, that'll just about do it. Make sure to go check out doghousesystems.com and tweakedaudio.com where you can use the code ITN. It'll get you double memory on your next Doghouse Systems gaming rig free of charge and support the show in the process. It'll also get you 30% off and free shipping off of your entire order of noise-reducing earbuds from tweakedaudio.com. We thank them for their support. We thank you guys for using those codes, and we will see you soon on the next episode of Into the Nexus. Good luck and have fun, everyone.
Take care. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.